Hello and welcome to our monthly market update. My name is Masoud Vatandoust, broker with the Vatandoust search team at Keller Williams Real Estate. I'm here again, as usual, with Doug, my partner, and we are going to go over the numbers that were released by Toronto and Durham Real Estate Board for the month of May, as far as the homes sold and purchased. So Doug, take over and let's look at the graphs and the numbers and see what's happening in the market.
Okay, thanks, Masoud. Yes, so our first chart is just the number of homes sold in Durham Region, and there were 1,025 homes sold in May compared to 1,089 in April, which is a reduction of 5.9%. And this is also 21% lower than the 10-year average, which is the gray line there. And that the average is 1296, as well as a significant drop, obviously, from last year with 1574. Of particular note as well is the housing supply has doubled to 1.4 months of inventory in May compared to just 0.7 months in March of this year. And now for the average price of homes sold, the average selling price in Durham Region for May was $995,668, a continued reduction that we've seen over the last couple months. And it's and last month it was 1,075,000. And of note, from the peak in February, it's been a cumulative 19% drop since that peak price again in February. However, it's still 10.4% higher than last year at this time. As we look at the blue line, this price point now is more in line with October and November pricing of last year. And the average days on market has increased again, as it did last month. It's now increased to 15 days on market. In our last chart, ratio of sold to new listings, there were 2,261 new listings in May. And then when we combine that with the number of homes sold, the ratio of sold to new listings dropped to 45%. So not a big drop, but a continued drop. And so we're definitely in the buyer's market range. While there is some variability on a particular home, might still be in a balanced market, but as a whole, we're shifting into a buyer's market, which we can see affecting pricing and that sort of thing. So, you know, as we saw on the chart, what we'll call now a market correction that began at the beginning of March, it continued again this month. I think as people are aware, with high inflation numbers, corresponding increases in interest rates, and we anticipate, we're hearing now that it could be another interest rate coming up either at 50 or even 75 basis points, but that's a forecast. That's what some of the pundits are anticipating, that this is causing buyers to have a more cautious approach and, you know, just kind of taking a step back to a large extent, you know, almost now a feeling of waiting for the bottoming. You know, why buy now if prices are going down? If I wait a month, they might be even lower. So we're certainly seeing some of that happening.
And a lot of buyers don't come back on the market until they see the prices rise. They don't come back on the market as the prices drop because, as you said, they're waiting for the bottom, and invariably they miss the bottom and catch it up as it starts going up again. So, yeah, one thing that I wanted to point out, Doug, as you mentioned, days on market, it's now 15 days. One thing that has changed is that we see a lot of listings cancel and relist again, whereas 3 months ago, when we said the days on market are 8 days or 9 days and so on, it was very accurate. And when we were holding offers and then taking offers on a certain day, and then the real estate board was clocking it as days on market 8 days. Whereas now a lot of listings, probably about 50% of the listings don't sell and they get canceled, price adjustments, and list again. And unfortunately, our system, unlike some of the real estate boards, don't count the days from the previous listing. They start counting again. The clock starts again. So when you see 15 days on the market, it was on the market for 10 days, it didn't sell, and then this new listing was on the market for 15 days before it sold. So in reality, days on market are much higher than 15 days. It's now to number of days. So yeah, so that's something that we have to notice on days on market.
And you mentioned, Mr. Listings that are on the market then get canceled or price changed and relisted. What we're seeing as well is, the whole listing strategy is very variable and it's evolving over time. And so the strategy that we've been dealing with for the last couple of years, where you list low, intentionally low, and then you do what we call holding off offers to an offer date. That you also just mentioned, and then it's selling over asking price. We're seeing that start losing its effectiveness and being used less often. And so right now there's a real shift, not only in the market but in the listing strategy, which also really strikes to, it's just so important to really know what's going on in the market and relying on us to advise you as to, if you're selling your home, what's the right strategy. There are still situations where list low, hold off may be appropriate. But then another situation, it's best go straight to list at what you expect to sell for and take offers anytime. So yeah, there's a lot of change going on in a number of different aspects of the market.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Doug. As you said, the pricing strategy is much more important today than it was 5 years ago or even 6 months ago. It's very critical to come up with the right strategy that suits the client and the market and so on. So that's very true.
Yeah, and I guess
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, just kind of as like a final thought from my perspective is, we've seen a pretty consistent pattern over the last 3 months. I mean, our crystal ball isn't quite as sharp in this type of shifting or changing market. So we don't know where the market or when the market's going to level off, which it will at some point. But we certainly don't see in the near term, whether it be 2 weeks or 3 weeks, much of a change. Particularly as we hear about more interest rate hikes and that sort of thing. Certainly it will change at some point and level off, but we don't see anything in the near term changing, which is in some respects good for buyers. Pricing is getting more affordable, but at the same time, it's a challenge for sellers. Yeah.
And it's also from the buyer's point of view, they get the chance to have conditions, home inspection, financing conditions, which they haven't for the past 2 or 3 years. Everybody's buying blind basically, and this is a good opportunity that the buyers can do their home inspection, do their due diligence before they dive in. So that's a definite positive for the buyers. Well, as usual, if you are thinking of buying or selling, please let us know. Every case is different, and as Doug mentioned, the strategy, pricing strategy, and so on is becoming more and more important. So we'd be happy to sit down with you one-on-one, and we're still doing Zoom as well if you are wanting to do that, and then come up with the right pricing and right strategy for yourselves. So Look forward to presenting this information to you next month, and take care and look after yourself meanwhile.
Bye.